What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's get right into it. Kamaru Usman has once again made it clear that his sights are firmly set on a blockbuster welterweight showdown with Islam Makhachev. Speaking on the latest episode of the Pound for Pound podcast alongside Henry Cejudo, the former UFC welterweight champion laid out his case with confidence, framing the matchup as the biggest fight the division can offer right now. Usman, now 38 years old, believes 2026 could be a defining year for his legacy. Despite a challenging stretch earlier in his career, he's coming off a strong and convincing victory over Joaquin Buckley, which he sees as proof that he still belongs at the elite level. With a resume that includes multiple title defenses and years of dominance at 170 pounds, Usman argues that his name still carries unmatched weight in the division. According to Usman, the appeal of a fight with Makhachev goes beyond rankings or current momentum. It's a clash of eras and elite skill sets, pound-for-pound excellence against proven championship greatness. While he was careful to show respect toward rising contenders like Michael Morales and Carlos Prates, Usman emphasized that no other matchup offers the same stakes, intrigue, or drawing power, especially as the UFC enters a new broadcast era under the Paramount deal. Usman also suggested that the interest is mutual, stating that he believes Makhachev wants the fight as well. In his view, the only remaining step is for the UFC to step in and make it official. During the discussion, Henry Cejudo weighed in on the current welterweight landscape, particularly the controversy surrounding Michael Morales' professional record. Cejudo questioned the legitimacy of a removed loss on Morales' resume, arguing that clear footage showed Morales being submitted and that the result should still count as a defeat. His comments added fuel to the ongoing debate about records, transparency, and credibility among emerging contenders. As the conversation wrapped up, Usman expressed excitement not only for his own future, but for the division as a whole. With major changes on the horizon, including the UFC's upcoming Paramount rollout and increased exposure, Usman believes the timing couldn't be better for a super fight that captures the attention of fans worldwide. For him, the message is simple. If the UFC wants the biggest fight possible at welterweight, the path is clear. Islam Makhachev versus Kamaru Usman. Before we continue, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with all our latest content. Moving on to another news. Dustin Poirier has emerged as one of the few high-profile voices backing Justin Gaethje to score a dramatic knockout victory over Paddy Pimblett at UFC 324. As a former interim lightweight champion who has shared the octagon with Gaethje, Poirier's prediction carries significant credibility. According to Poirier, the key difference in this matchup lies in experience under extreme pressure. Gaethje has been tested repeatedly in brutal 5-round wars against elite competition, proving his ability to survive chaos while continuing to push forward. Pimblett, on the other hand, has yet to face that level of sustained adversity at the top tier of the lightweight division. Poirier believes Pimblett's biggest challenge will be his inability to consistently impose his grappling game. While Paddy has enjoyed success using takedowns and ground control against past opponents, Poirier doubts he'll be able to take Gaethje down or keep him there for extended periods. If the fight remains standing, Poirier sees the advantage swinging heavily in Gaethje's favor. In Poirier's view, a prolonged striking battle is exactly where Gaethje thrives. Known for his devastating power, relentless pressure, and willingness to absorb damage in order to deal it back tenfold, Gaethje excels in high-risk exchanges. Poirier predicts that Pimblett will eventually be drawn into a firefight, where Gaethje's heavier hands and proven durability could lead to a fight-ending moment. While acknowledging that Pimblett does have a path to victory, Poirier stresses that it would require near-perfect discipline. That means staying at range, avoiding wild exchanges, carefully picking shots, and maintaining focus for a full 25 minutes. Against a fighter like Gaethje, who has built his career on dragging opponents into chaos, Poirier believes that level of control will be extremely difficult to sustain. Poirier ultimately predicts a stoppage win for Gaethje, calling him the underdog with an unbreakable mentality. Despite betting odds heavily favoring Pimblett, Gaethje's inside-the-distance odds make the pick even more intriguing. Coming from someone who has survived those same wars, Poirier's assessment adds serious weight to the prediction. As UFC 324 approaches, Poirier's bold call stands out. If the fight turns violent, Justin Gaethje may once again prove that experience and resilience can overcome hype. Moving on to another news. A behind-the-scenes training incident involving Khamzat Chimaev has resurfaced following a recent YouTube interview that shed new light on the volatile moment. Georgian MMA personality Vako Gviniashvili sat down with former UFC bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili and pressed him on a story that had quietly circulated among fighters but never fully reached the public. The incident allegedly took place during a training session at Extreme Couture, where Chimaev was working alongside Merab and fellow Georgian UFC fighter Roman Dolidze. According to Merab, the atmosphere was was intense but normal until things suddenly escalate. While Merab was sparring with another partner, he recalled hearing a loud scream echo across the gym. When he turned to look, Chimaev was visibly enraged. He described Chimaev pacing angrily, punching a wall, and scanning the room in frustration. The outburst immediately caught everyone's attention. At the same time, Merab noticed Roman Dolidze walking calmly nearby, appearing confident and composed, almost as if he had just come out on top of an exchange. Moments later, the situation became clearer. Chimaev was seen sitting down with his knee heavily wrapped in ice, clearly in pain. Merab then explained what had led to the injury. During sparring, Dolidze had locked in a knee bar on Chimaev. Rather than tapping, Chimaev reportedly attempted to fight through the submission. The decision backfired, resulting in a knee injury that immediately halted the session and triggered Chimaev's emotional reaction. According to Merab, the damage was significant enough that Chimaev has continued to deal with lingering knee issues since that day. He noted that Chimaev still wears a knee sleeve during training, suggesting the injury never fully healed or remains a recurring concern. The story paints a revealing picture of Chimaev's all-or-nothing mentality in the gym, one that has fueled his meteoric rise in the UFC, but may also contribute to setbacks behind the scenes. Known for his intensity and refusal to back down, Chimaev's unwillingness to tap during training reflects the same mindset he brings into competition. While no official statement has been made by Chimaev regarding the incident, the account adds context to past injuries and highlights the risks fighters take when ego and competitiveness override caution, even in training. Moving on to another news. Dricus du Plessis has spoken candidly about his middleweight title loss to Khamzat Chimaev, labeling the fight boring, while also acknowledging the effectiveness of Chimaev's strategy. In a recent interview, the former champion reflected on the bout that saw Chimaev claim the belt through suffocating wrestling and positional control rather than the high-octane clash many fans expected. Du Plessis was blunt in his assessment of the fight's entertainment value, admitting that even he found the contest dull despite being the one inside the octagon. However, he made it clear that the criticism wasn't meant as an excuse. Instead, he credited Chimaev for executing a smart, disciplined game plan that neutralized every offensive opportunity du Plessis tried to create. According to du Plessis, Chimaev made a conscious decision to avoid danger at all costs, refusing to turn the bout into a chaotic exchange. By keeping the fight grounded and controlling the pace, Chimaev effectively removed the elements that usually make du Plessis dangerous. While frustrating, du Plessis admitted it was the correct approach to secure the championship. Rather than dwelling on the loss, du Plessis views the fight as a critical learning experience. He explained that it exposed the exact areas he needs to improve, most notably his anti-wrestling, scrambling ability, and urgency in returning to his feet under pressure. He believes those speed bumps, as he called them, are essential to growth and has vowed to return as a far more complete and prepared fighter. Du Plessis is confident that a rematch would look entirely different. He promised fans that if he faces Chimaev again, they'll see a transformed version of him, one capable of countering the wrestling-heavy approach and forcing a real fight. In his words, he intends to become a master in the areas that previously held him back. For now, the middleweight division continues to move forward. Chimaev's camp has reportedly indicated that one more successful title defense at 185 pounds, potentially against Nassourdine Imavov in spring 2026 following Ramadan, could precede a move up to light heavyweight. That scenario leaves du Plessis likely lined up for a meaningful matchup against Brendan Allen, a fight that could position him right back in the title conversation. Whether it's Allen next or Chimaev down the road, du Plessis remains focused on evolution and proving that the sequel would be anything but boring. Moving on to another news. Conor McGregor appears to be fully locked in as speculation continues to build around his potential return on the highly anticipated UFC White House card. The former two-division champion recently posted a photo showcasing his physique, and the image quickly set social media on fire. Lean, muscular, and visibly focused, McGregor looked every bit like a fighter preparing for a serious comeback, fueling optimism that fans may finally see him return to the octagon after years of setbacks and delays. With the UFC White House event shaping up to be one of the most historic cards in the promotion's history, McGregor's presence would instantly elevate it to another level. His latest post suggests that training is progressing and that he's mentally committed to competing, reigniting excitement among supporters who have been waiting for his return. Meanwhile, the discussion around McGregor inevitably turned toward his long-running rivalry with Dustin Poirier. Poirier recently appeared on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, where he was asked whether tensions between the two former rivals had finally cooled. The question stemmed from McGregor publicly congratulating Poirier after he shared news about his son, which some fans interpreted as a sign that the feud may have been laid to rest. Poirier, however, quickly shut down that idea. While acknowledging that he noticed the message, Poirier made it clear that there is no renewed relationship or reconciliation between them. His response was brief but firm, leaving little room for interpretation. Despite the outward gesture, Poirier indicated that whatever history exists between them remains unresolved. The exchange served as a reminder that even as McGregor teases a return and presents a revitalized physical form, the rivalries that defined his career are still very much alive. For many fans, that tension is part of what makes a potential comeback so compelling. As anticipation grows around the UFC White House card, all eyes remain on McGregor. Whether this latest physique update truly signals an imminent return or is simply another chapter in the build-up remains to be seen. What is clear, however, is that McGregor's name continues to command attention, and if he does step back into the octagon, it could mark one of the most talked about moments in modern UFC history. Moving on to another news. Sean O'Malley remains firmly committed to his long-term dream of becoming the biggest star in the UFC, even after a challenging stretch that slowed his momentum over the past year. The former bantamweight champion has faced significant obstacles recently, most notably in the form of back-to-back losses to Merab Dvalishvili, setbacks that undeniably impacted both his title aspirations and his standing in the sport's pound-for-pound conversation. At the start of 2024, there was widespread discussion about O'Malley's rapidly rising profile. Many believed he was on the verge of becoming the UFC's next global superstar, with some even arguing that he had already reached that status. His colorful personality, striking style, and massive social media following positioned him as one of the promotion's most marketable athletes. However, consecutive defeats to Dvalishvili brought that narrative to a halt. While O'Malley's popularity remained strong, the losses forced a reset and shifted the conversation from stardom to redemption. Still, O'Malley insists his ambition has not changed. Speaking during the UFC 324 countdown show ahead of his upcoming bout against Song Yadong, O'Malley was refreshingly honest about his journey. He admitted that while he once aimed to be the UFC's biggest star, he never quite reached the #1 spot. Instead, he often found himself just short, ranked among the top 2 or 3 names in the sport. Despite that, O'Malley emphasized that he still believes the potential is there. According to O'Malley, the path forward begins with a statement win over Song. He views the fight as a critical step toward reclaiming momentum and redefining the version of Sugar Sean O'Malley he wants to become before his career is over. At 31 years old, he remains in his athletic prime, hungry, motivated, and confident that his story is far from finished. While the road ahead is challenging, O'Malley's star power shouldn't be dismissed. The bantamweight division is stacked with elite talent, and the featherweight class looms with even more competition if he chooses to move up. Still, O'Malley's established fan base and flair for delivering highlight reel performances give him a realistic chance to reassert himself as a top draw. As fight week approaches, O'Malley shared a simple message with fans, promising an exciting performance and expressing his eagerness to put on a show. For O'Malley, UFC 324 represents more than just another fight. It's a chance to restart the climb toward the superstardom he's still chasing. Moving on to another news. Islam Makhachev continues to showcase his relentless work ethic as he prepares for whatever challenge comes next in his career. Despite not having an official fight booked at the moment, the reigning welterweight champion remains fully engaged in training, recently sharing footage from the gym that highlighted his ongoing commitment to strength and conditioning. In the video, Makhachev is seen performing heavy barbell squats, a staple exercise for building lower body power and overall athletic stability. The clip quickly gained traction among fans, offering a glimpse into the physical preparation that has become synonymous with his dominance inside the octagon. Even during periods without a scheduled bout, Makhachev appears intent on maintaining peak form rather than easing off. While the weight on the bar drew attention, some observers noted that the movement appeared closer to a partial squat rather than a full-depth repetition. That observation sparked mild debate online, with fans and analysts offering differing opinions on technique versus training intent. Supporters pointed out that partial squats are often intentionally programmed to overload specific ranges of motion, especially when training explosiveness, joint strength, or sport-specific power. Critics, meanwhile, questioned whether the lift should be judged by conventional powerlifting standards. Regardless of the form discussion, the broader takeaway is clear. Makhachev is prioritizing strength development as part of a well-rounded training regimen. Lower body power plays a crucial role in his fighting style, particularly in his ability to drive through takedowns, control opponents against the cage, and maintain relentless top pressure during grappling exchanges. Makhachev's disciplined approach approach to training has been a consistent factor in his rise to the top of the sport. Known for his technical mastery, conditioning, and composure under pressure, he has built a reputation as one of the most complete fighters in mixed martial arts. His willingness to share training footage offers fans rare insight into the daily work that fuels his championship success. With no fight announcement yet, speculation continues to swirl about Makhachev's next opponent and timeline for return. Still, videos like this send a clear message to the rest of the division. The champion isn't waiting around. Whether the next challenge comes at short notice or later in the year, Makhachev appears determined to be physically prepared long before the contract is signed. For now, the focus remains on steady improvement, heavy lifts, disciplined training, and the quiet confidence of a champion staying ready for whatever lies ahead.